Hello everybody, Bernie Wall here, and I'm here with another video in the IELTS Learning Tips series. And today I want to look at Band 8 in reading and how you can get a Band 8 when you take your exam. And I've had a lot of students who've got Band 8, so it's just going through the process and the things that you must and mustn't do in order to push your score to the kind of level that you need in order to get Band 8. Before I get started, I just wanted to say a couple of things about how you can connect it with me in other places apart from YouTube. One is to go to my website, IELTSlearningtips.com, where you can sign up for a few videos on there about things. You can find out about any of the courses that I run, and also get hold of some free resources that are on that website. So that's one way. And the other way is to join my new Facebook group, which is Band 7 and 8 Success Network. And on there I put some information, some tips and help, and I've just started doing the odd Facebook Live, so there is stuff there for you to access as well. So those are two ways. And at the end of this video I've got a final slide with that information on, and there are links below that you can follow. So I want to talk about Band 8 in reading. I know that for some of you, you need an overall score. And where you need an overall score, then it's good to have one of your parts of the test which can get a much higher score. And these tend to be the listening and also the reading. So listening with lots of practice can get quite high. But it does need a lot of practice. And the reading, again, is another one that can get quite high if you have good, strong technique and you follow a very systematic process that will get you to the kind of scores that you need. So in academic, we're talking about 35, 36. In general training, we're talking about 37, 38. And it is imminently possible if you have the right techniques and you're able to do enough practice. So there are a few things that you should not do, and there are a few things that you perhaps need to do. And I want to go through those now so that you can get a better idea of what to do to try and get your scores up to that level. So as usual, I've prepared a little slideshow, which I'll share with you now, and we'll just go through a few of those things. This video might be a little bit longer than the ones I've been doing recently because I've got quite a lot to share. So please, if you want Band 8, I suggest you watch to the end so that you can get all the things that you need to do. Okay, so Band 8 is about improving your score, getting more of the questions correct, and not making too many mistakes. So what is possibly stopping you from getting that now? So if you're hovering around Band 7, so let's say you're somewhere, or even 6.5, so if your scores are around 27, 26, 27, up to 31, 32, then you know, you're around 6.57. In order to be sure of your Band 7, then you really need to get it fixed around 32, 33 every time you do a test. And then if you can do that, and if every test gets you around 32, 33, then it's only a small step to getting 35, 36, which will get you that higher score. So these are some of the things that might be stopping you. A lot of students make the reading very complicated. They try sort of rushing around. They have a lot of rules and systems and processes that are quite complicated and not always logical. So if you've got lots of rules and regulations and you're following some strange process that you've picked up, sit down and think, right, how can I do this logically and with common sense? So the first thing you need to do is to focus on the questions. So your focus should be more on the questions than on the text. So if you're underlining lots of things in the passage, you've got to ask yourself why you're doing that. I never underline anything in the passage. I only underline things in the questions. So shift your focus to the questions. Okay, once you're in the questions, you choose your keywords. Don't go for one. One is not enough. You need 3, you need 4. So usually 3 or 4 keywords together will help you to find the answer that you're looking for. Scan the text, looking for the most obvious keyword, and these, as I've mentioned many times, numbers, names, unusual words, titles, all of that sort of thing, dates. Scan the text for those. If it's the word of the topic and there isn't a number or a date or anything, then have that in conjunction with the word that describes it in the question. Find the place. This is all very straightforward. And then once you're in the place, then calm down and read it carefully. Don't start leaping around. So read that part very, very carefully and match it with the question. Read the whole sentence. And this means going back to the beginning. If your keywords are at the end or in the middle of the sentence, don't just go forward, go back to the beginning of the sentence and read the whole thing. Otherwise, you might miss something important. If you're in passage 2 and especially in passage 3, quite often you need to read the previous sentence and sometimes the next sentence as well to get the whole sense. This is particularly important if you have a pronoun. So if you have it or they, or if you have these or those, we need to know what that refers to. So that should drive you backwards to read the previous sentence so you're absolutely clear what the sentence is talking about, and it could be key to the answer. Then locate the answer. If you've done all of these things that are on the slide now, the answer should be obvious. If it isn't, then there are a couple of things that you need to do. First of them is to go back to the question. But once you've got the answer, don't start checking it and rechecking it, just go on to the next question. If you pick the wrong choice, then you may find that that choice fits in another question and you can go back at that point. So don't spend any more time now, just move on. Right. I said this, don't leap around, don't jump around. I see quite often students read half a sentence and then they rush off looking somewhere else. Don't do that. Stay where you are. If you've got enough keywords, you're probably in the right place, but you're probably not reading enough. Jumping around just wastes time because you don't really know what you're doing or what you're looking for. And it stops you from really analysing the sentence that you found with the keywords. And this is critical. So stay where you are, don't leap about. And the first thing you should do is read that again carefully. Okay? If you're not sure or you can't find the answer, then go back to the question because you might have forgotten a very important keyword. This happens all the time. Somebody will say the answer's not there, and then I'll say, check the question. Have you forgotten about that word, which might be something like the future or the past or currently, something like that. So go back to the question and then come back again. If you still can't find it, then there might be another place. So at this point, I would very quickly scan through, see if there's another place with these keywords or some of these keywords and look there. If you still can't find it, leave it and move on. Don't keep rushing around the text because this now starts to be a very serious time waster. And you can quite easily come across it later or go back later if you manage to finish everything. So, right, keep going. This is your biggest enemy, wasting time. If you can finish everything in 50 minutes, 55 minutes, then you've got 5 minutes to go back and check any that you're not sure of. And that is the time to do it, not wasting time in the middle of passage 1. Okay, this is true. You start to panic. And the more you're searching about, the less you're finding it because you lose your focus. So don't do this. Sometimes you'll be looking for the next question and you find the one that was missing. That happens. And if you're in a panic, it won't happen because you won't see it. There's plenty of time if you have a strong technique. So don't worry about the time, just be systematic and work one by one through the questions. Okay, this is another really important thing, and it becomes very important if you're looking for the higher bands, especially band 8. Be aware of what you're reading. And a lot of students are not. So I said, well, what have you already read? I don't remember. Be aware of what it is. As you go through each of the paragraphs searching for the answers, think about what's contained in each paragraph. The heading questions are really good for this because if you have headings, they will give you an overview of the whole passage. If you get a question about percentages or proportions, think, is there a paragraph with some numbers? Should I look there? If you get something about trends, is there a paragraph about dates or about, again, numbers or something like that? So be a little bit aware of what's in the, well, a lot aware of what's going on in the text. And as you read through it, then you should be able to find the information more quickly, because instead of starting every question at the beginning, you'll say, oh, there was something about that in paragraph C, and you can go straight there and save yourself a lot of time. Okay, that's what I just said. So also be aware of what you haven't read. This morning I was working with a student on a passage and we could not find one of the answers. So we did what we're supposed to do. We left it right to the end. And I could see where the answer was, but he just wasn't seeing it. And in the end, I said, okay, go to the subheading. And the answer was actually located in the subheading of the passage. So that would be something that you might not read, except right at the beginning. So do be aware that they can be anything, be ready for anything. So think about, I haven't seen this information at all, so it must be in a paragraph that I haven't looked at yet, and go there first. Okay, so get a sense of how the passage works. So how does this progress? Does it start with an introduction or a definition? Does it then talk about the history? Does it then talk about research? Think about how it works, and this will all save you a lot of time. Okay, you have plenty of time. So the techniques I've been talking about will save you time. And if you're looking for band 8, then you should have more than enough time. At this level, you should only be, you should really be able to do it in 50 minutes. So focus on the questions. If you get stuck, always go back. If you can't find it, move on and go back again later. So that's the rule. As your score improves, and this I have seen, I've been teaching IELTS for over 20 years, and this rule, if you like, this plays out every time. As your score improves, the time it takes you to find the answers will decrease. So there is no need to worry about the time. The time is never your problem. The problem is always finding the right answers. And if you're not improving, you need to look at why you're not improving, because the biggest issue will be your English language. It could be that your vocabulary is not wide enough. It could be that your technique is not good, but it's more likely to be that you're actually finding the language level difficult. So in that case, it's better to go back, take a lot more time over the reading, write down any words that you don't know as you do the reading, and believe me, words come back. So there are certain words that I see over and over and over in the readings. So it's really worthwhile, if you don't know a word, finding out what it means and then trying to learn it, because you may well see it again. And do more of this practice. And then once that gets stronger, then you can try and improve your score to band 8. But you need to do this too. Okay, so it won't happen overnight. This takes time. The techniques need strengthening. Your language needs widening. It takes time. But you will get there. I've seen many students go from a panicking band 6, band 6.5, to an easy peasy band 8, and even band 9. You will get there, and when you get there, you will just wonder why you weren't there before. I was speaking to a student today, and she said, everything now just seems different and easy, whereas before I was in a panic. And that will happen if you just keep focused and keep using these techniques and keep practicing. Okay, half the battle is knowing how to do it, and the rest is working on it to improve. These are the 2 links I mentioned before. So my Facebook group is Band 7 and 8 Success Network, and there are free resources as well as other things on my website. And if you sign up there, then I send out emails about things that are happening, or about advice on different aspects of IELTS. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing there, and thank you for watching. I hope this is helpful. Please put some comments in the box, and please share with your friends if they're looking to get band 8 in their reading as well. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.